Okay. All right. All right, it is 1 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started because we do want to have a little bit of Q&A time afterwards. So, you guys, if you were with us a little bit ago, I'm Ricky Hofer. My partner here is Lori Rogers, and we are the directors for County Audit Services. Mouthful. As you entered this event, again, I'm just going to remind you that we did turn your video and your mics off. That is to help with bandwidth and make the session go smoother during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, when we open up the Q&A, we will we will give you back control of your videos and your microphones so that you can turn them on and introduce yourself to us. Ask any questions you might have about any of this stuff. We are recording this as right now. Once it gets done and gets to me, we will be putting it on the website next to the packet of information that goes with it. The chat box is open, so if you have any, technology issues maybe, would be better used to use during the chat during the presentation. If you would, just save your questions till the very, very end. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lori to get us started on the accounting overview and resources.
I swear every time I do it, it does it differently. Okay, can you see that? All right. So Ricky said, I'm Lori Rogers. I'm the other director for County Audit and Technical Services. What we're trying to do in these overviews, and we're doing one for each of the 4 offices, is just to give you a high-level overview of what your new office is, as well as resources that you can use as you take over your duties. It just is not possible for us to provide you with sufficient training in 1 hour or even 1 day for everything that you're going to need to prepare you everything you need for the next year or 4 years. The training is ongoing. We have newly elected training. We started last week with AIC. We're doing sessions this week. We have sessions in January and February specific to the offices. So there'll be treasurer. There will be one that treasurer and auditor are together. There'll be everyone's together. But these will be in January, February. And then if we feel like we need more, we can always set up ones later. If there's an issue that newly elected officers are having problems with that we'd like to pull you in for something, we can do that kind of virtually like we're doing this as well. However, there is training that we do for your for all of the treasurers, for all of the associations going forward. We do a state called meeting in August, and that's a 2-day conference. Hopefully, if everything is back to somewhat normal, which we are really hoping and praying for, then it will be in person. It'll be a central location where all of the treasurers come in from all 92 counties with some of their staff, and we do the annual conference. You've probably heard about that. In addition to that, AIC has training. They have some classes. They have information on those classes that you earn certificates as you go forward within your elected office. Your Treasurers Association also has meetings that they hold district meetings. They do a spring meeting in March, which is all of the treasurers again in the central. It's a 1-day meeting where all the treasurers come into a central location. All of these meetings are very important. You need to attend as many as you can. And you are a key part of this training, not only by attending, but also by giving us feedback so that we can make our training better, more efficient, more trained to what exactly you need to do your jobs, the topics that are more currently important. So anything that you feel that you would need training on, please let Ricky or I know, or let your association board know. And we work with the association board on that August conference to try to pull different topics together, and we're always interested in any topics that you think are important. As we progress through this training, try not to get overwhelmed. You can do this. There are treasurers that have been in the exact same position that you're in now, and they have succeeded and risen to the challenge and done outstanding work. You can do this as well. Your association is, an entire association of treasurers who are your peers. They're all doing the same job that you're doing. They can provide invaluable resource, not only in how to do the job, but even, some cheerleading on the side, or letting you know that you can do that. So they can encourage you, and they can show you how things get done, give you some best practices, things like that. So there's a lot of resources out there. We're going to be going over some of them so that you are aware of them. So hopefully you have a pretty good idea of what expected you as a county treasurer because you ran for the office. Congratulations on winning your office. That is wonderful. That is not something I have ever thought I would want to do, and I can't imagine everything that you go through to run an election and win an election. But again, congratulations that you have won this office, and that your public has entrusted you with the treasurer role, and we're going to be going over that role. It's a very important role for the county. But we want to go over some basic things of what the treasurer's office does. There's probably a lot of your citizens don't exactly know what every office does. And so we want to give you kind of a framework for what your future training will be. We cannot cover, again, in 1 hour, everything that you're going to deal with, but we hope to get the highlight. I told the auditors this earlier today, true story, but it was about 20 years ago when I was auditing a new county treasurer who confided that they really didn't know that they would be collecting money or handling money. That was pretty rare. I don't get that. I mean, that was a one-time thing, but it happens if you get people get excited about running for office and maybe not always sure what they're doing when they get there. The other thing I want to point out is don't ever underestimate the collective experience of your staff in your new office. Of course, you are the elected official. You can make adjustments in duties, roles. You can hire new people. You can lay people off. But those people know how your office runs, and they can help you stay on top of everything you're going to need to do. So we do not recommend just going in wholesale and laying everybody off and hiring all new people. Take advantage of the experience that you already have in that office. So like the other positions, the position of treasurer was created by the Indiana Constitution. If you go to the Constitution, that is available on the General Assembly website if you ever want to look at it. In Article 6, Section 2, it states that there shall be elected in each county by the voters thereof at the time of holding general election a clerk of the circuit court, auditor, recorder, treasurer, sheriff, coroner, and surveyor who shall, went too far. My arrows aren't working very well. Who shall severally hold their offices for 4 years. However, the Constitution does not set out the duties for the office of treasurer. It does state in Section 6 of that same article that all county, township, and town officers shall reside within their respective counties, townships, and towns, and shall keep their respective offices at such places therein, and perform such duties as may be directed by law. So in order to understand your duties, we need to go to law. For Indiana, the law is in the Indiana Code, in the statute. So the statute does impose powers, duties, and responsibilities. I've listed some of the statutes on this slide, and Ricky later is going to talk about the General Assembly website and kind of show you how you look up statutes. But if you want to practice with it, here are some good ones to look up, just to make sure you can do it and to actually look at these statutes. The first statute I've listed on the page is a statute specific to the county treasurer. So for a quick tutorial, the first number is the title. So Title 36 is local government. The second number is the article. Article 2 within Title 36 is county government. And the third number is the chapter. And Chapter 10 within Title 36, Article 2 is county treasurer. This chapter discusses requirements for the office such as residency and training, as well as duties that are imposed. There are sections on issuing receipts, payment of warrants, monthly financial reports, and settlement. It's a good idea to read through this chapter. It is not necessary to memorize any of this information in the statute or in our manuals. But if you are familiar with it, if you know where to find it, or that you've ever read it before, it's a good thing to have in your head just so you can go back to it. And of course, if you forget, we will be happy to remind you where you will find the statute on the county treasurer. There are other statutes throughout the Indiana Code that also deal with the treasurer. And when we go over our website, we're going to show some of those common ones so you can kind of see where they fall. But it's just, we can't just list them all off because it would take quite a while. The next two requirements come from Title V. Title V is state and local administration. So you are required by statute to give an oath before you take the office. The oath requires you to support the U.S. Constitution, the Indiana Constitution, and that you will perform the duties of your office faithfully. This is a very important thing. We take an oath when we accept our position with State Board of Accounts, and it's a high calling that you've come to, and the oath is kind of an underlying of that. You are required to also provide an official bond, and also in Indiana Code 5-4-1 in Section 18, it sets out the amounts that are needed for the bonds of the different offices. County treasurer is required to be bonded at $30,000 for each $1 million of receipts. And as we will discuss, the treasurers collect all of the property taxes and excise taxes for the county, as well as the county-specific receipts. So you are responsible for quite a bit of money. If you heard Wes talk earlier today, this is multi-million dollars. And so for each million that your county pulls in receipts, you need to be bonded for at least $30,000 for every million. That bond is basically insurance to protect the county from loss for errors or losses under the control of the treasurer. We're going to talk at the very end something about the things you need to do before you take office. One of the things is to find out how the oath of office is given for your county, and work with your county on getting the official bond and getting that paid for. Okay, but remember, you're not alone trying to figure out everything. We're going to go over resources as well as we go through these, so don't freak out as we work on this or feel like, oh, there's just no way you can do this. You can do it. Never hesitate to ask if you are not sure of something. We can help you find an answer. We can brainstorm, but if we don't know you're struggling, we can't really help you. So, you know, if you don't spend a lot of time spinning your wheels wondering, if you have a question, reach out and we will help you the best that we can. So the treasurer is the custodian of all of the funds in the county treasury, and the county treasury is all the cash and investments that's in the county's name. You are also the investment officer for your county. You work with the recorders or with the auditor's office, because the auditor has the official record of all of the funds. It's a funds ledger for the county. So the auditor keeps the records, posts the records, the official records, and the treasurer keeps track and takes custody of all of the funds. So it's a segregation of duties built into the offices themselves. This is unique to counties, although the state is also set up this way. For example, for a city and town, the clerk treasurer or the controller for the city or town has both custody of the funds and is the fiscal officer as far as reporting and reporting all the financial transactions and providing the annual financial report. But for counties, you share duties with the auditor. And what this means, and we'll go over this a couple more times, you're going to hear from us, this requires cooperation between the auditor and the treasurer's office. You need to work together. We have had training in the past, and we'll have it again in the future. In fact, we'll have specific training for newly elected officers with both the auditors and the treasurers together. Do you have to like each other? No, but you have to get along. You have to cooperate. So, you know, going into this, have an open mind, be open to communication. You're each responsible for your own office. So one is not the boss of the other, but you have to cooperate in order to get many of the duties that you are charged with accomplished. Okay. One of the things that you need to do is maintain a financial record that is separate from the auditor's. The auditor's financial record is the official financial record for the county. But the treasurer also maintains financial records. The first and foremost, most important is your cash book, which is a daily record of all the receipts into and the disbursements out of the county treasury, as well as accounting of where those funds are located. So where is it in a bank account, a demand account, checking savings? Is it with Trust Indiana? Is it an investment account? Is it cash that you hold in the office as a cash fund? We're going to have training next month specifically on the cash book and reconcilement. So we'll go over that. Hopefully by then you'll actually have seen your cash book and it will make more sense. You are also required to keep a separate accounting of the receipts and disbursements by fund from the county funds. So there's a separate funds ledger that's to be reconciled with the auditor's funds ledger. So this is a kind of check and balance for the funds. The auditor's is and always will be the official record, but by you keeping a separate funds ledger and reconciling those two, you can find out if there's been errors, if there's something that your office hasn't picked up or something that the auditor's office hasn't picked up. You research that, you find those, you can make the corrections and keep those funds ledgers accurate. And again, we will have training in January with both the new auditors and new treasurers on the reconciling between the two offices. All of the collections receipted into the county treasury must be taken up by the treasurer's office for deposit. Okay. In order for it to be considered in the county treasury, you are the gatekeeper. It has to go through your office. There are departments in the county that collect fees, fines, other charges, a recorder's office, the health department, the highway sometimes collects money. And they're responsible for these collections until they transfer custody of these collections to the treasurer. So if there's a problem out in those departments, that's not on you. But once they have transferred the custody of that, where they're bringing you their collections for deposit, you accept that, give them a receipt, and you deposit that money, then the custody for those funds from that point on belongs to the treasurer. So they should receive a receipt from the treasurer. It documents that transfer of custody. And this is another area where the auditor and treasurer's office must cooperate. The receipting process, or you'll hear it quietus process, begins with the auditor who posts the record, and they set up the quietus process. But the auditor does not accept the collections. They are taken to the treasurer for deposit to the treasury. Okay? We're going to be training on this receipting process in January. We talk about the cooperation between the two offices. But this is very important. We've been training pretty heavily on it, not 2020, but in 2017, 18, and 19, to make sure we got everybody back in line on what those expectations are. Okay. In addition, your office bills and collects the property tax payments. These payments are not quietus into the funds until settlement. The treasurer posts these collections daily to the cash book and maintains them until settlement. So these are not on the county records until you go through settlement. The money that you're collecting in property tax is not just county money. This is also the money for the schools and towns, cities, townships, libraries, etc. That you are an agent for collecting that property tax money. Excise tax is received sometimes daily from BMV. This is another area where the auditor and treasurer must cooperate to complete the financial accounting. Because the treasurer will receive the excise payments as an electronic payment and ACH into their county bank account, but the auditor must then post that to the funds ledger so the cash book also reflects that deposit. So it's very important, again, that you cooperate. The auditor maintains a separate ledger for excise taxes that tracks the taxing districts where those taxes were paid. So they do keep a subledger in their office for that. You just collect the total. You post the total amount of the excise on the cash book. And again, we're going to train on this. There's a lot to train on for the two offices. All of the warrants are prepared by the auditor based on the claims audited and approved for payment. This is going through your governing body, most times your commissioners. The warrant is not a check. They are often used interchangeably. But basically, if you're looking at statute, the warrant is the request from the auditor to the treasurer to make a payment. That's usually by check, but it can also be by an electric funds transfer, a wire transfer. And if it's a check, that's something that you are both signing. But that you'll hear it a lot, the interchangeable, but they are two different things. It's the treasurer's responsibility to make sure there is sufficient funds in the bank account to cover all warrants for signing any checks or authorizing any wire transfers. So you need to look over the approved claims and make sure that you have sufficient money to cover those checks. Those bank accounts are under the custody of the treasurer. No funds should come out of those accounts without the express authorization of the treasurer. Again, you are the gatekeeper for the money coming into the treasury and the money going out. And we're going to cover this in future training, but it's very important that you understand that is one of your key roles, is custody of those funds. The treasurer is also 1/3 of the team that handles the property tax assessment, billing, collection, and settlement process with both your auditor and your assessor. It's another area where you must all work together. So it's very, very important that, and I've said it so many times, I'm going to say it again, keep the lines of communication open so that you can make sure that all of the parts are working together so the county as a whole works efficiently. At least monthly. You can do it more often. We certainly encourage that. You need to reconcile your cash book, which is your main financial record, to the bank and investment statements. Okay, we're going to be doing training on the cash book and reconcilement next month in January again after you've had a chance to look at it. In today's world, you can access your bank account information online on a daily basis. So you can check your accounts more often than monthly, but at least monthly you need to be reconciling it. We already discussed you'll be keeping your own funds ledger separate from the auditor. You will post all receipts and disbursements to these funds ledger by fund, and it will carry the balance in each fund. At least monthly, you need to compare your funds ledger to the auditor's, and any variance should be reviewed and investigated so that any errors can be corrected. The auditor's funds ledger, again, is the official financial record for the county, but your funds ledger is also important, and it's a check to ensure that the auditor's fund ledger is being kept accurately. You will be completing a monthly financial report and will provide copies of that monthly financial report to the auditor. The auditor will provide copies to your governing boards, and they will also send a copy to the State Board of Accounts. And this is, again, done every month. And finally, as we stated earlier, you are the investment officer for the county. You are by statute a member of the County Board of Finance along with your county commissioners. The Board of Finance meets annually in January to review the investments for the past year and also review the overall investment policy for the county. This is something that you will want to find out from your current treasurer if possible, prior investment reports, current information needed for the investment report of 2020. We will have training in January from a Treasurer's Estates office on investing. It's a very important training. Please attend this or watch the recording of it if all possible. They are, as Wes said earlier today, they are an excellent source of understanding how investments work, what you can and can't do. So this is very valuable training. So Ricky and I, again, are the county directors, and we truly want to be a resource for you. So we put we're first on the slides. I've listed our phone number and our email address. We use the county's mailbox as a joint mailbox that we both have access to. We have personal email addresses, and you may find them and use them in the future. That's not a problem, except if you don't use the county's mailbox and one of us is not available, your email can sit longer than you may like. Vacations are a good example. I cannot access Ricky's email. She cannot access mine, but the counties we both have access to, so we get those emails answered more timely. Okay. And as I stated, we try to be as responsive as possible. Sometimes it takes more than 15 minutes to answer an email, and yes, we have gotten calls 15 minutes after an email was sent. It doesn't upset us too much, but we do ask that you understand sometimes it takes time. Don't ever hesitate to contact us. There are no stupid questions. You are not bothering us. We are going to do everything we can to that's our job, to answer your questions, and we want to get an answer to you. Even if it doesn't come from us, direct you to the right agency or find the information that you need. You will hear this often. We are not lawyers. We cannot give you legal guidance. We can tell you how an issue will be treated during an audit, which is called an audit position. However, if we tell you that we will not take audit exception on something, it doesn't necessarily mean that that position would hold up in court or that's the legal way to do it. All we're saying is this is how we will treat it during an audit. We may have to direct you to other agencies. If State Board of Accounts is not the appropriate agency, it might be an question that's better answered by the Public Access Counselor or the Auditor of State's Office, the LGF, or the Treasurer if it's an investing question, and they do answer questions on investments. If we do provide you guidance in an email, and you can always have the option, even if we do a phone call, to ask for a follow-up email, we've given you something in writing. Be sure and hold on to that so that when it's audit, you have the basis for the decision that you made. All of our uniform guidance, our directives, our manuals, our bulletins, and Ricky's going to go over where you find those. They support the accounting that is required and compliance. Any comment that your office would receive in an audit report will be based either on statute, uniform compliance, or grant agreements, as well as any local county ordinances and policies. If you are not following your own local policies, that can also be a finding. And I think at that, I am going to stop sharing and turn this over to, I think I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing.
I hope you are.
I think I stopped.
Turning it over.
Turning it over.
You did stop. It's just me now. Okay, so you guys should, if you don't have the presentation right now, you won't need it for the moment. It's not bringing up my, oh, it's because I didn't take the presenter. Now I've got it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. So in the presentation, we give you some resources, and what I really want to do is just show you those resources. And just so you kind of have an idea, the whole idea here is for you to see them from me and then go back and maybe play with them on your own, just so you're a little familiar with them when you walk into office. It's just a really good place to start. Just like Lori said, you don't need to memorize all of this. It's just so that you know where to go. So what we'd like to start with is the State Board of Accounts website. And so we are currently in stages of updating this with a nice search function. And as that comes out and gets rolled out, we will be sending out further guidance on that. But this is the main page of our homepage, in which you can see this, correct, Lori?
Yes, it's up.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't check with you before I did it. Okay. So this is the main page. When you come here, there's a couple things. One thing to note is I'm sure you've heard of this little thing called the coronavirus. I'm pretty sure we've all well aware of it and the hiccups it has brought to us this past year. We have issued several memos, and there's a couple directives and some information out on that. Anything that we have put out on it is on the homepage. Right down here at the bottom, you see it says SBOA information on coronavirus. If you scroll down, you can kind of see it. They're all in date order. This is just in case when you hit into office, I'm going to assume COVID's still going to be there as of January 1st. If anybody references any of these or you have a question, this is a really good place to start to see what guidance we have put out there. We do have some additional agency information like the LGF. We've put some of their stuff on here and et cetera. So you can kind of take a look at that and see what's out there. One of the other places to really start when you come in is, we're an audit agency. So the one thing that we all do is we audit you. I mean, that's what our field staff comes in and does. So it's always kind of nice to see what your last audit report looks like. So if you are interested in searching up your next audit report, it's this big blue ribbon right here. You see it says search reports. If you click on that, it will bring up a search menu for you. Okay, and this is kind of our audit report database, if you will. It's really kind of nice because it lets you search by unit type, so you can search county, okay? And then you can pick your county. We're going to pick Adams, again, just because it's at the top. And it's going to list all of the audit reports that have been released. Oh, not all. I mean, we don't go back to 1920 12 or whatever.
Right.
So it's going to be the ones that we have that are online version are here. And I don't know actually how far back that goes. Do you know?
11 or 7.
11?
7 or
What
11 is stuck in my head.
One of those. It goes
if you
back
go to
quite a
the
bit.
audit years and hit the down button, it'll tell you how far back it goes.
Let's see. 1993.
Those
Look at
aren't
that.
online. It'll get you the report number, but it won't get you the report.
There you go. So anyway, the report number is the link. So here you would click this to actually see that report. We really have two different kinds of reports. You've got your supplemental report, which is, like it says, it's the supplemental to your financial report. But this is what houses any comments that you would have. So if there's some kind of written comment on the treasurer's office in the prior audit, this is where you're going to find that information at. This one down here where it says non-federal financial, this is really where your audit opinion for the county as a whole is. The non-federal part just states whether or not it's a federal audit or not. In this case, they were non-federal, so there was not a federal audit performed. If you had over $750,000 in federal expenditures, you would be a federal audit, and this word would change from non-federal to federal. So play with it, look at it, get kind of familiar with it. It's really kind of good to know what you're walking into and what that last audit report looks like. Okay, so now one of the things that we have is on our website, we have a page dedicated to just county treasurers. So let me show you how to navigate there. You can bookmark it too once you get there, and that makes it even more simple. So when you're on our homepage, you need to select a political subdivision. You can either select it here or it's up here as well, okay? But you want to click political subdivision and click counties. All right, so this takes you to the counties page. This is really just an overall counties page. So when we have information that kind of affects everybody, like newly elected training, as you can see, we have placed up here at the top of the page. This is where you would get those packets from that we were talking about. We've put them all up underneath December sessions. But if you're really just wanting to look at what the treasurer needs, if you scroll down just a little bit, we have county offices. This is where you would select county treasurer. It's working on it. There we go. So here is the county treasurer's page. Okay. I'm going to try and do this very quickly because I went way over the last time. So as you're here at the very beginning, contact information, there's Lori and I's phone number if you need to get a hold of us. If you click on the little icon here to the right of each one of us, I believe that takes you to our counties box that we share. You can send an email there. Or you'll just get used to emailing us and have us, you just have to put the, the SBOA and it'll pop right up. Underneath of that, this is a really important thing I want to take a second with. This is how you subscribe to be on our email lists. We just recently changed to an eGov delivery system, is what it's called. This is where we send out any memos, any information. If we put out a new bulletin, which we put our most recent bulletin in your packet here, this is how we do it. We use this eGov delivery. It just helps us get it out to everybody. So what we need from you when you get your work email from the county to go here, and let me click on this. You click on the link at the end, and it brings up a fillable form. You would fill this out and then select down here what list you want to be subscribed to. You can subscribe to as many as you want, but I would just suggest keeping it simple. You don't want your email box, flooded with all this, even though we don't send out, daily messages. We do have directors of cities and towns and schools, and we don't always send out stuff at the same time. So, you don't want your box all filled up with all kinds of stuff. But it's really important that you do this, because if you were ever on a subscriber list before, or if you get an email like treasure@adamscounty.gov, which is like a generic one, and they have ever unsubscribed, through this, they will not allow us to add you. So we are really pushing for everybody to go and add their self. Okay, so when you get your county email, that's when you would do this. Along with that, once you subscribe, shoot Lori and I an email with that new email address on there so that we're sending out all the newly elected separate from these, because we can't parse you out from all the other treasurers at this point, the current treasurers. So send us an email and sign up. Those are really important. And if you need help, call us. We'll walk you through the process again. Okay. On here, we've got the county treasurer's manual up at the top. This is kind of a new one that we did a few years ago, just kind of cleaned up and took some of the statutes out of our code. But this is all going to be changing too. This is something we're going to be working on. This year, we are really working on changing it from the way it's set up now to maybe more of a topical thing. So if you were going to go and look up, receipting, we'll have like just a section of receipting. So again, we'll be in contact with you as we start rolling those new things out, but just be aware that it's there. You can come down. We have different, sorry, I don't know if, okay, it's still there. So we have like an overview of what, Lori kind of went over of what the treasurer does. Lori talked about corrective action plans and repeat findings when we did the roles session. So this is where you would enter corrective action plans. I'm not going to go over that here. Another really important thing is internal control standards. We kind of touched on this if you took part in the AIC last week. So internal controls are a very integral part of your office, and they need to be considered. So when you get in there, you need to see what's in place. It's an ever-evolving wheel, so you are never done with internal controls. They're never perfect. Or at least they're not perfect for long. They're just always evolving because technology is evolving and people change into different positions and jobs change. So it's always something you want to think about. So inside here talks about the standards. There is training that's required and certifications that are required. That's all in here. If you scroll down a little bit further, we have our Uniform Compliance Guidelines manuals. We have the old Treasurer's Manual in here. And then we also have an internal control manual and the information technology manual. Again, you don't have to memorize what's in there, but just be familiar with what is housed in them. The internal control is really a good resource if you're trying to figure out what you need and where to kind of start. We kind of talked about bulletins. I said I included one in your packet. These are where all the bulletins are housed. We only house 10 years on the website, so I just put out the December bulletin last week. That bulletin took the place of December of 2010's bulletin. So we take all that information and we update it and put it in the new bulletin, and sometimes we add articles to it as well. Once we update that, then the old bulletin is removed. We also have, if you click right up in here, it's an index. This is an index of all of our articles. This is really the best way to search your bulletins for the time being. So if you were going to look up, okay, allocations of penalties collected for failure to timely register motor vehicles, right there. Then the bulletin that's referenced here is 392. So that's the volume number, and then it's pages 3, 4, and 5, okay? It's just nice to go to. You cannot click here. You will actually have to go back out over here and find 392, which is in April of 2014. Okay, let me close this. When we do trainings, we put all of our training materials underneath presentations and training materials. So you can kind of go back through and see any previous trainings that we have done. This year has been virtual, so it has included the recorded video along with the presentations here. We also have a link to our YouTube channel, so we do put up videos on the YouTube channel. Sometimes they're really small. We like to do, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and sometimes it's these sessions, which are an hour long. So you can kind of get familiar with that as well. Those are just there so that you can go back and look at them, use them as a resource. If you forgot something or you just couldn't remember exactly, that's what it's there for. Resources, this just has different resources that, different websites that you can go to, such as Treasurer of State, Auditor of State, your Association of Indiana Counties, or even that says Auditors Association, but I think it's supposed to say Treasurer.
I would think so.
So, yeah, I don't know. So we need to make a note of that. We'll have that changed. As you go down, we also have a list of Indiana codes that are most commonly asked about and commonly, needed. The other thing is other miscellaneous. I'm trying to speed up, so I apologize, guys. Other miscellaneous is just treasurers. So if you are looking for something specifically related to the treasurer, it's probably under other miscellaneous. If you can't find it here, you can always, like I said, give us a call. We'll try and help you the best we can. The last thing I really want to talk about here is Indiana Code 511-127 does require, political subdivisions to report any errors or irregular variances, losses, thefts, shortages. And if something like that were to occur, this is the form that you would fill out and submit. Okay. I did that really quick. I'm going to touch on just two more. Okay, close this one. Okay. What else I'd like for you to think about and play with is you have your Gateway website. We're going to go over this in a couple more sessions. One we're going to do Thursday is just going to be a basic overview. But in January, we're really going to dig in here of how you go about uploading, what is required to upload and how to do it. But this is the public side. So when certain stuff is put on Gateway, it is, not all of it is public, but there are some public reports. So you can click search for reports. And here is all the information that you can kind of search. You can search by unit. You can look up the annual financial report for your unit, for example. Now, as of now, you can only go from 2019 and back. So just beware that 2020 hasn't been submitted yet. It won't be submitted until March 1st. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead one more so we can get the rest. Okay, so this is the Indiana General Assembly site. This is sometimes can be overwhelming, but once you learn how to use it, it is such a great resource. I have this up every single day. I don't know how many phone calls I get on questions, and I have to go to the statute to read it. Again, we're not lawyers, so I may send you a statute, but I'm not going to interpret it for you. So here, the best place to do is to go up here to the code, and then I'm going to type this in correctly this time. Okay, so let's go to 36.2.10. Okay. So nice when you actually do it the right way. Yay. It'll just take it a second to pop up. And it is the treasurers, the county treasurers. Maybe, well, I thought it'd be easier than diving even deeper, but
I'm in it right now.
Yeah, and the only reason it's really taking slow right now is because I am using a hotspot, and I'm also on WebEx, so that really pulls on my availability to do all this at the same time. Here we go. So here it came up with the county treasurer, and so you can kind of go through and read, here's your administration of oaths, inspection of records of the office. This is where we go. So if you can kind of get familiar with, at least maybe know 36 is local government, that's super important. If you know that, you can kind of find your way to where you need. Okay, and if not, call us. I'll be honest, I don't memorize these. It's too much for me. I have like two, maybe three that I memorize. This is my go-to. You also have a couple other websites. I'm not going to bring those up right now. That you can go to, but your treasurer's association Association has a website, and AIC has a website. So if you need information, you can always reach out there and see and time again, which I apologize, Lori. I'm going to submit this back over to Lori so she can kind of finish it up, and we can do a Q&A.
Q&A.
All right, there you go, Lori.
Share my page again. And she went through these slides by actually showing it to you, but if you have questions where to find, we've kind of spelled it out in here how to navigate, so you kind of have it in writing you can come back to. So as we've already mentioned, and you're all well aware of, COVID has wreaked havoc with our lives, our society, and certainly with our government procedures. We are just advising you to make sure you have a contact person in your county, whether it's a commissioner or a council member, another elected official, that kind of keeps you in the loop. We are finding that offices are closed, open one day, closed the next, because someone in the office has tested positive for COVID, so they've shut it down to do cleaning and quarantine the officials. We just don't know from day to day, and you don't know from day to day. And so we would hope nothing would happen January 2nd when you're ready to move in your office, but just in case, be aware of what the protocols are for your county, and make sure you are put on the phone tree or email tree or however it is to get the information you need when you're going to start the office. Also find out how your oath will be given. Every county kind of does it a little bit different. Sometimes do it individually. Sometimes they have a ceremony. In this day and age, it might be done virtually. So check in with them and find out, because you need to have that oath in place before you take office. Also, find out how you're going to access your office on January 2nd. Do you have a key to get into the courthouse? Do you have a key to get into your office? Make sure that's available to you, or you know how to go about that. And also make sure you know how to access your email and contact information with your staff on the horribly off chance that your office may be closed down on January 2nd and you got to start your elected office remotely, which I hope does not happen, but potentially could. Make sure you understand how to do that so you're not just in the dark on that day. One of the memos on that first homepage that Ricky was showing you, one of those memos is on continuing operations, and it was issued in April, so you can go and look at it. And based on that, we told all of the officials that they should have a plan for their office for an emergency. Right now it's COVID, but it could be a cyber emergency, it could be a natural disaster, but you should have a plan in place that you keep going forward and updating so that you are able to continue essential operations during an emergency, whether you're working remotely, whether you're working at another site, how you keep things going for auditors and treasurers. Even during COVID, payroll still had to go out. Some vendor checks for PPE and other things still had to be paid. So it was necessary to make sure you had plans in place to know how to go about that. So those should already be written or established or started. So check with your predecessor treasurer to make sure that you have access to that plan. You'll want to review it and update it as you go through your term. If you have questions on it, again, go back to that guidance in April. On the homepage, the actual name of it was Continuity of Essential Operations. So you go back, it's a 2 or 3 page, 4-page document, but it's really good information on things to consider when you're writing this plan. So again, we ask that you get in touch with the current treasurer and find out if there is such a plan. Hopefully there is, and how you get a copy of it. If you have questions about it or there isn't one and you need to get started with one, you can reach out to Ricky and I will be glad to help you with that. That is the end. So I am going to stop sharing again. I'm getting faster at this.
You are getting, it's going to be like boom, boom. I will tell you that I went through the website and all of that extremely fast. I did not touch on every single resource that's on there. So really do take a moment to kind of go through it, see what you find, see if you have any questions. Moving forward, like I said, we'll be happy to answer anything you have. We don't want to stress you out. We know this is a ton of information that's coming at you, but like as Lori said, you can do this. You can do this.
You can do it.
And you got enough resources here to help you all the way. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to, and hopefully this works, I had one person in the last one that it would not allow me to do this to. I am going to give you back control of your microphone and your video. And so if you would like to either ask us a question or even just say, hi, I'm, so-and-so from so-and-so county. See if it may take it a second. Oh, no, everybody went. There was only one user I couldn't do it. It looks like they're on a phone. I can't change them. Do the deputies and the need to be bonded? That was a question that we had. So, do you know what the statute is that has off the top of your head?
It's in 51418, and yes, if they are, and I can't imagine anyone in your office not handling money or posting, they have to be bonded. And 18, that section 18 will tell you how much. And it might be a crime insurance policy, it might be a blanket bond, but yes.
So, okay. I see some familiar faces. Right here at the bottom. I see Susan and trying to get everybody's name. They all went away. All their names went away.
It's a guessing game.
It is. It's a shell game. Y'all keep moving. But is there anybody, you guys have any kind of question for us? I know we didn't, we gave you a lot of information, but believe me, we didn't really dive real deep. So I don't want to scare you, so I understand. But, we'd be more than happy to answer any kind of question that you have. Or like I said, if you just want to introduce yourself again, feel free. See, someone just turned their camera on. Don't be shy. Oh, there came names. Okay.
Hi again. Don't want to leave you hanging.
I like that.
Thank
Hamilton
you.
County
We
Treasurer.
appreciate that.
We're not scary.
No, we're not. Please don't ever be hesitant. That's what we keep saying. Don't hesitate to call. We're easy to talk to. Again, we're never going to tell you that was a stupid question. You shouldn't call. There are no stupid questions.
Right.
If you don't know the answer, then it's an important question, and you're going to need to know the answer.
Absolutely. And if we can't give it to you, we'll help you find who will give you that answer. And as she said, sometimes, we get emails, and sometimes we can't get back to you right away because we have, it's crazy. It's like right now, I've had emails coming in the whole time that we've been talking. We do try to get to you as soon as possible. In all honesty, we always answer from the county's inbox, normally first, to get that clean, because that's where we're trying to direct everybody. So if you really go there first, you're going to get answered first. And as soon as we kind of get that clean, then we kind of split off and start picking from our individual ones. So just as a forewarning. See, somebody says they don't have a camera. This is Susan calling. She says, nice to meet you both. Susan, which county are you from? Oh, wait. No? Oh. I hear somebody.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm so excited there's more than one Susan. I always feel alone.
Oh, no, you're never alone.
We have a Susan.
We have a Susan as a director, so you are definitely never alone.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
In school,
Susan's from Montgomery County.
Susan wasn't a real common name, so I'm just so happy there's more Susans out.
We have a question in here that says, I know the monthly report is due on the 15th of each month. Is there fine or penalty if it's late? There is not a fine or penalty. You are out of compliance. There could be an audit finding. It does make you, and we're going to talk about uploading and stuff, it can make you a higher risk if we're not getting the reports, because that could be an indication that maybe there's information missing or we're not reconciling, but there's no fine or penalty for it.
You guys are right. I've done it for 4 years, and you're absolutely right. No question is stupid, and they have never once made me feel like I was bothering them when I asked them a very probably basic question to them, but just something that my mind was froze on. So thank you for all you guys do.
Well, thank you. We do have one who's been working really well with his current outgoing treasurer, so that's nice to hear.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
I think if we had if I just said more than once, if I had a magic wand and I could wave it and make everything happen, it would be everybody would get along. But we are finding that doesn't always happen, so we keep our fingers crossed that you are all able to get along with your with your fellow elected officials and everything goes smoothly for you in your county.
And you will hear us say numerous times, communicate. Just communicate. Because sometimes it seriously just takes a, coming together, coming of the minds. So we've got some others here that don't have cameras. So we've got, and if I mispronounce your name, next time you see me, tell me how to do it correctly. We've got Lori, and I think it's Vincus. I'm hoping that's right, from Stark County. My name is Ricky Hofer, so nobody pronounces my name right if you've seen it spelled. So, I feel for you. I never intentionally do it. But yeah, so, and I hate that we're not getting to see you guys in person. This is my first, since I've been in this position almost 2 years, this is my first time we've done newly elected. So if we get to get in person this year, please come up to Lori and I, introduce yourself to us. We're missing that interaction with everybody. We haven't been able to do, we did one at the very beginning of the year before everything shut down, and it was the treasurers.
Spring conference.
Yep, they had a spring conference, and that was the last conference that we went to. But that was March. Beginning of March.
Right before the shutdown, yeah.
We've seen no people. And we've only seen each other a handful of times in person the whole year. So, Vainkiss. Did I do that right? Vainkiss? She's really good. She Somebody else?
Cindy Howard.
Hi, Cindy. What county are you from?
Taft County. I just came from the recorder's office to the treasurer's office, got caucused in November. It was kind of a whirlwind.
Well, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Ricky, can you hear me?
I can.
You can now? Oh, good.
I can.
This is Susan coughing. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I had so much trouble with my headphones, so I've got it worked out now. So it's nice to meet you.
Me too.
When it works. That's it. Very frustrating.
Okay. Looking through chat real quick and see if there's anybody else that has any questions. Before we do sign off here, I did see something come in. I do want to say that we are planning I know next week's Christmas, but we will get the January, I'm calling them, what I call them, schedule of sessions.
Sessions, yeah.
So by Wednesday of next week, we will get January's schedule of sessions out. It'll look just like the December's. There's more to it. I can't remember how many sessions, but there's sessions almost every week. We tried to keep each of you guys set to a day. I cannot remember. I want to say Tuesdays for treasurers.
Treasurers, yeah.
I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was Tuesdays. And again, these are just small 1 hour things. I can't promise there won't be another day that we would bring you in together, but we tried to keep it that way so you could remember, hey, it's a Tuesday. I need to see if I have a session that day. So anyway, we will get those out to you. And then every Friday, we're going to put packets up that go to the corresponding sessions for the next week so that you will have them. They are going to be the presentations in PDF form and then any other additional documentation we think you might need. Okay? And then we did have something come in, which is, I'm going to butcher this, Gina Bretnotcher. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. This is Clinton County Treasurer. She does not have a camera, but she took over in March. And with the pandemic, she was not able to caucus in until May. Oh, wow. But you were elected to your first term in November, but you've been with the Treasurer's Office for almost 5 years. So you have a background coming into it. So that's always really nice, too. But welcome. What a crazy year for you as well. And we have Brenda Hamilton. from Huntington County. She says, no survey test today, right? No, we're not going to test you or anything like that.
We have, when we do these sessions, we actually have a list of who's attended, so we don't need you to fill out any survey to prove you are here. We just know you've logged in, and that's all we need. So,
and then we'll send you certifications for when you've logged in. We will probably wait till the end of February, and so that we're not sending you, I don't know, 14 certifications. You'll get one with the dates and hours that you attended, okay? We'll talk more about that in February because I'm not sure what that's going to look like quite yet. I just have the information. So, okay. Well, does anybody else have anything else? Anybody else want to say hi? White County, Barbara. I'm not even going to try, Barbara. I am horrible with pronouncing names. So, but when we meet in person, you're going to tell me how to pronounce your name. She says this has been very helpful. Okay. Well, we will let you guys go for the afternoon. We really appreciate you tuning into this. We hope you find these little sessions beneficial, which we kind of wanted to touch the surface now. We will start digging deeper as we go on, but we just want you to have a little information going into office, and then once you're in there, we'll start digging into some of those things that you really need to know. Okay? So, again, we thank you all, and, have a wonderful afternoon. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Oh, yeah, we'll see you Thursday. Bye.
Bye.